Welcome back to Deep Heights. My name is Deborah. I kind of felt compelled to do a reading today just because Mercury is going retrograde tomorrow, and once that happens, we'll have 5 planets retrograde: Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Pluto, and Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Pluto. Something else. What else is retrograde? Sorry. Jupiter. Jupiter is also retrograde. So 5 planets in retrograde, which is interesting. It's an interesting time. Definitely an interesting time. So we'll see if I can get this out. Obviously I can if I'm forgetting which planets are retrograde. Nevertheless, let's get started. Alright, let's get an overall energy from the Vantod pack. The stones. That's interesting when we think about retrogrades, the stones. It makes me think about, obviously, wow, Mercury's really going retrograde when I'm gonna have to stop this video. Stonehenge. We use stones to measure the stars, to see the stars at certain times of the year. The light shines through a certain point in the stars, and it can shine on a certain place in the ground. The stones are usually set up on ley lines, meridian points on the earth. This is important. We're each a stone. We are a trinity. However you would want to see that. Mind, body, and spirit. Sun, moon, and stars. That's interesting. But the retrogrades make me think of pauses. This is a pause, a stillness, a heaviness, a weight. There's a weightiness, certainly within this year, with the heaviness of it so far. It weighs down on all of us at certain times, making us look back. Maybe there are 3 different points, 3 significant points of our life that we need to look at. Let's get one more. Stones. I think of the 5th element as well. But there were 4 stones there. Earth, air, water, and fire. What one is missing? Maybe it's different for each one of us. How do we get the missing one? Because it's different. It's a different element. You can't get water from earth or air from fire. They're separate elements. So I think that's important. Let's get one more, please. Oh, I've seen this card. The waltzing mouse. There's your missing stone. The tree. Maybe it's earth. The waltzing mouse. That's interesting. The first thing that I saw when I looked at this was a tree that had been cut, but it isn't. It's a table with a cloth putting on a show. Is it covered? Are the things that we've cut down, do we cover them over and then we dance on them because we don't want to look at them? The parts of ourselves that we cut. It's interesting because I posted a quote today that I saw, which was, good books act as the hatchet for the lumber within our bodies. But for me, I felt like that was kind of, we get stuck and we're immovable. We want to be balanced in our earth, balanced in our tree, movable, fluid, with water that we can flow and move and grow. We don't want to be dry. Was it necessarily cut or did it fall? I don't know, but that's important. Covering over our lives, the parts of our lives that hurt us or are gone. The child on the bottom of the deck. It's always in childhood. The beginning. It's in our childhood. We carry it with us into adulthood. That little dog reminds me of like the fool, or Zero, which is the fool. Symbolism is beautiful. Permeates our culture in all ways we don't understand. Let's start with Crow Tarot. Look at the stones. Oh, the cards are jumping. What are these stones? What do we need to know about the stones? Because it's the stones that want to speak to us. The stones want to speak clearly. This is the distraction. What may we know about the stones, please? What are the stones trying to say to us? The sun. The chariot on the bottom of the deck. That's interesting. The moon. Chariot rules Cancer. The moon. It's ruled by the moon. We have the sun, which is all signs, really. Those are victory and glory in all signs. For all signs to come out of the moon energy. That's. Just give me a second here. I think there's something that you need to move past victoriously. That you need to leave behind childish things. With the waltzing mouse and the child on the bottom of the deck. This is reborn, rebirth, and there's usually a child on the horse, the victory, the rebirth. And indeed, it would be kind of like what it is, leaving behind these dead things that we cover up in our childhood and revealing them, because the sun is the great revealer in moderation. The sun can also be blinding, which is maybe what this waltzing mouse is. Which one is it? These are complicated and complex issues. It's not a one-way thinking, because it could be too much or too little. But the stones want to talk about the sun, about growth and moving beyond, because the charioteer he's moving, he's traveling, he's in flight. We have the crescent here. I always think of the high priestess with the crescent, that lunar symbolism, the laurel, victory. There's victory in something for you, but you're going to have to move, and you're going to have to see it. The stones want you to see something and move towards it with the chariot. You've been playing. This reminds me of that fairy tale when we were kids. I think it's the ant and grasshopper. You have something like that. And the grasshopper, he played all winter. He played his little fiddle, or all summer. And then he was going to starve in the winter. That's what happens. We cover up those starved parts of ourselves, and then they're just skeletons and shadows in the dark. But they haunt us, nonetheless. It affects our relationships with others, with ourselves. What is it? Ooh, that the sun wants us to see. The world comes flying out, and we have the Four of Wands. It's interesting. 3 stones, 4 wands. You have the 4 stones around that. 4 of Wands is a card of victory. It's of marriages, of coming together, of a solid foundation for yourself. It can be a marriage card. I don't really know if I'm picking up that energy specifically, but for some, it could be the recognition of that. Putting an end to your old ways of being and rebirth, and seeing that this cycle is completed. You don't have to keep living in it, you see. Maybe here, how in the chariot, the bird's flying, and he's flying towards the nothing, but he has this victory wreath around him, and here in the world, he's in the wreath. He's closed this cycle. Been reborn with the scorpion here. The fixed signs, the strength of the lion, of the bull, Aquarius, of man, of water. The 4 pillars. You need your 4th pillar. And how do you get that back? Which is it? What is it? Is it you? Are you the 4th? That's being asked of you to see it. And to get that 4th, you're going to have to go within. But it's there for you. Spirit's there. Like somehow Spirit's there for you. Helping you and guiding you with the sun. I think maybe you've stayed in this dark cycle for a long time. You don't want to come out of this underworld cycle. And if you don't, you're always going to be stunted and on a stump, putting on a show, a circus. You'll just be nothing more than an entertainer. You'll have no depth. You'll be a skeleton, a ghost, a child, playing alone. Four of Wands is about reality. It's a square. I think I've said before how in the Thoth deck it's the circle, and this is Venus and Aries. This is love in action, taking action with that love here. Love for yourself, firstly, and then love with another. Maybe you're ending a cycle of being alone, and you're being... There are signs, there are guides, and this is what it says for you. You've met your person. For those of you who have, I think that's amazing and beautiful. It's the end and it's the beginning. It's crowned. This crow has a wand. He's crowned victorious. He's in I'm saying in the circle, but it's more than that. He's in himself, I think. This is finding yourself. And when you find yourself, and if your other has found themselves, then you come together. This fountain, this overflowing fountain. Water. Pillars, these are pillars. Pillars of strength, you both bring your two. It's interesting. It's really beautiful. It's sweet. You know, there's a very sweet energy, a very subtle, like coaxing energy that's, you know, something's definitely covered up though. Or hiding. Distracting someone. Dancing. To waltz is a dance of love. It's a slow dance. But he's dancing alone. And he's going to dance alone until he reveals himself. To another. We must all be vulnerable. Love makes us vulnerable. What is this world for this Four of Wands, please? There's something more here from the stones. The Eight of Wands reversed. The Seven of Discs reversed. Hiding, you're not communicating it, you're not... You're avoiding it. It isn't forthcoming. It's no movement forward. This is Mercury in Sagittarius. And that's a really beautiful energy to have when it's functioning at its highest. Mercury and Jupiter are similar, you know, in that they enjoy learning and growing and talking about it and the exploration of thought and truth, higher truths, spiritual truths, and learning about. And here, this is the avoidance of that, or not communicating it because it's being avoided. I'm just going to keep repeating myself. Seven of Wands reversed. Of Discs reversed. More avoidance. Avoidance of the roots of planting your tree. You're not planting your tree, your fourth pillar, your fourth stone. Because I feel like it is the earth that's missing for you. It's the earth. It's your tree. Okay. Alright, let's talk about the waltzing mouse. What may we know about this waltzing mouse energy, please? Five of Discs. It couldn't be more clear. Loss. tumult, difficulty in it growing. Like it's it's stunted. That's what I want to say here. It's stunted. Look, and you have the 6 of discs on the bottom of the deck. You can come out of this energy, but you must balance yourself, and you must be balanced, and you will not be balanced with these 3 stones. It's like that would be a fulcrum, and then you would have the 2, right? If it were a scale. But something about it, you're being encouraged to make a square, a solid foundation, and the square makes a circle because in alchemy you circle the square. There's something incomplete. You're incomplete. Health, balance, emotional balance as well. These guys look like they're tearing up some fish. Something must be destroyed to be. You're gonna have to pick and choose, you know, because he's got the one fish here in the middle, and he's looking up. He's like, "Ah, you've taken my fish. I wanted to eat it and keep eating it somehow. Like you're eating your dead. Like you're eating yourself. Yeah, you're eating yourself. You've eaten all your skin. You know, but you have to let it go, and you have to let it go in the underworld, in the cycle. You have to leave it behind because that's what happens. Your heart is weighed. You have to let it go. You know, life is a continuous process of growth, and we must let those painful parts of our past or things that we're ashamed of go. You know, what other people have done to us, disappointments with this 5 of discs. There's a loneliness and a despair here in this 5 of discs, and that's what's being covered over and hidden. But here, just they're by the sea. You know, let it go. Let it go back to where it belongs. What else may we know? Ooh, about the waltzing realms. Justice. That makes me want to cry. And the 8 of cups. Balancing yourself. Adjusting to who you are now and maybe where you want to go. You have the help. This card, when it came out, it turned around, so it had been in the deck reversed, and it slid around on the other cards. It wants to be upright. This is one of the most positive cards to come out when we're speaking about these types of things, because it means you have the potential and you have the help, you have the support, because this is a card of truth. Truth does not come to you unless you are pure. Your intentions must be pure. Maybe you don't even know your intentions are pure, but you don't always get to see into your heart, but justice does. Mayat does. In the underworld, nothing is hidden. You cannot lie. That's what you've been doing. You've been lying. You've been putting on a show. It's time to stop. Quit waiting. Move. Let it go. Okay. I really like this, actually. It's really beautiful. To adjust my light because they fall asleep. Okay. Sometimes when I don't have a spread, I get kind of lost. I'm like, I should have done this. All right. How can you best go about revealing yourself to yourself? To grow again. But first you must look at it, because you've been avoiding even looking at it. And then, you know, when you lift up that curtain, we don't know what we're going to see, some kind of rotten, termite-infested funk. Has it permeated to the roots? Are you even going to be able to regrow it? Hopefully, I think so, you know, because the sun is here, and the sun heals everything. But with the Chariot energy, you've got to take that on. You have to embody it. You are an embodiment. This would be you balanced from within, the intuition. And maybe you're not ready, but the charioteer, he gets armor. So even if you're not quite ready, or your tree is weak, you get help, support. You're supported in this. And that's what they're trying to tell you here. Spirit is trying to tell you, like, you're looking everywhere, but where you need to look, you've got the support all around you. You need to just see that within yourself as well. Really soft, loving energy. Someone wants to give you a safe space. Not just spirit, but another person is offering you a safe, soft place to land. Yeah. The Knight of Cups. And the Two of Swords. Hesitancy on your part to accept this happiness. And that's okay. It takes time. This is also too much play. The waltzing mouse. And the need to stop and feel. This is Moon in Libra. This is internalizing the Justice card. The Moon relates to our emotions and how we react to things intuitively, but it's also changeable and it moves. So before, Desarian puts the Moon as a co-ruler with Venus for Libra. And this is Moon in Libra. Libras that energy could, not want to go too deep, but it's important that you do. You need to go deeper here. You need to go deeper. Because after the 9 is the 10. You need to go, when you're whole within yourself, because another person can't fix you. You can't be fixed. Like Ayn Rand says, I'm not a band-aid for you. I'm not a salve for your wounds. You must heal yourself. Otherwise, you are not an I. To say I love you, you must first know I. And your I is that 4th pillar. That's the 4th pillar. You've been playing on it. You've been covering it up. Covering up your I. Okay. What else do these stones have to say to us? It wants to come out. The Two of Swords. Here's the 8 of Wands. I always think of movement when I see this card because it has the windmills applied. And these 2 swords are like stopping the movement. Because they're tied, they're bound. Temporarily bound. It's a card of peace, but it's not permanent peace. This is like not lasting. This is a pause. A necessary pause. And you can flow because each one of these moves. And then they move. But the swords, they're still. They hold a space. It's an X, it's a 10. X marks the spot. Something scorpionic about this as well. Something watery. Specifically scorpionic. 8th house. Of course, with the underworld. And we have the 8 of Wands upright on the bottom of the deck. With that, thinking about change and movement and communicating, because once you've reached that center, and I'll get to that, once you have reached that center within yourself, then it can radiate out. And then you have the sun with the rainbow. Joy, great joy. You can be happy, because maybe you aren't happy. You're not really happy, or you don't feel, radiate joy. Because you're stuck. Because beneath the 8 of Wands was the 8 of Swords reversed. You've been stuck. You need to get unstuck. And it's available to you. That opportunity is available and presenting itself. You have a lot of help. A lot of help. The Sun, the Chariot, the World, the Justice. The 4 of Wands. Just this is going to be difficult at this time if you're watching this now. And you're going through this now with all these planets in retrograde. But it's an opportunity to revisit, things from your past. This parts of who you are, your structure, your skeletal structure gives your body weight and does lots of things, but it doesn't move by itself. The tissue, the soft tissue, holds your body together and helps it to move. Otherwise, you're just clackety-clack. Just noise. Waltzing mouse. You're just noise. No depth, no substance, no... You're a fool. Okay. What is the waltzing mouse hiding from? What is the waltzing mouse hiding from? The 9 of discs. This would be acceptance of responsibility, because to become the 9 of discs, to have that security and ability to create abundance in your own life, and not just to keep it, but to continue to create it and to move with it, because it's about continuous growth for yourself that you create. But there's something beyond that. You see the keyhole here, which is going to lead you to the 10 of discs. That legacy, the wealth, the generational wealth that you can go on and build with another person, because I think underlying a subtext here is a relationship. It isn't the main, but it is underlying. But this is about healing yourself to take that next step, because you're being asked to, you're being guided to, but you're avoiding that. This is Venus in Virgo. It's avoiding that purity and regrowth, because Venus is, think of earthy Taurus Venus here being in Virgo, not so much a Libran Venus. But this is just gardens, and gardens that have labyrinths in them with different sections that have different flowers and trees and botany, herbology. So I'm saying this, you're missing your tree, somehow. Before the 9 of discs is the 8 of discs, which is Sun in Virgo, which is the tree in the Rider-Waite, in the thought deck. The skill, avoidance of the skill that you need to do because you're playing. I keep repeating myself. My videos are so long. Okay. Let's close then, since, let's see. Let's get a gypsy card. We'll see what I want to do. All right, let's get a gypsy card here. But what you're avoiding? You're avoiding the work that you need to put in to yourself and to other people. People do that all the time. They're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I'm not willing to learn. I'm not willing to put in the effort. People don't want to put in the effort because it makes them uncomfortable. So I'd just rather go off and play and dance. I don't need 4, I'm fine like this. I'm just a skeleton. And people can live their whole lives like that, and that's fine. Let them do what they do. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to be like that, but some people are. What is this? Yeah, I was gonna say, what are the waltzing mouse hiding from himself? Pain. That's what's hiding underneath there. Festering. This card isn't just about pain, it's also about having the fucking guts, the bravery, the fortitude to move through it, to grow through it. because I've talked about those 3 points meet there at the unfolding of that flower. There's no blood in this card. Because it's not leaking, it's not just like bleeding out, you know, it's being channeled. That blood is being channeled to grow the tree. Repeat again. The creation of the soul requires the blood of the heart. That's mine. It's my line. Don't steal it. You know, but this would be the fortitude through difficulty. And that requires strength, perseverance, the will to keep moving forward. Because this is a 3 of swords. It's in your mind and your heart, because we remember and we replay them over and over and over. And you're dancing to these old tunes, you know, and it's growing underneath you or someone you're dealing with. 7 of discs reversed on the bottom of the deck. Again, you had that before somewhere. Yeah, right here. That avoidance. Avoidance of growing, of putting in the effort. The patience is also a card of patience. Not having the patience to wait for it to grow, because it's painful to grow as well. You know, when it takes time, like maybe you only get one little limb each year or whatever. How can we help the waltzing mouse? How can we help the waltzing mouse, please? The Hermit reversed. Yeah, the King of Swords. This is you needing, the waltzing mouse, needing to take action and avoidance of maturity, of growing up, and facing this new cycle, this new growth. Because the Hermit grows, Virgo. He knows that he's a tree, and he moves. And he knows the secret too. I said before, and I'll just make it quick now, like, I don't think that the Hermit carries the light in the dark. When he goes into the dark, he's just going. He's guided by his self, the Cerberus here. His instincts. He's guided by his instincts. Whatever you want to classify each one of those heads as is your choice. You know, but he's looking. He's going, and he comes upon the light. And he says no. Something in him knows, because he's following his instincts. He's not just seeing it with his eyes, like, oh, the light's the thing. No. He's like, no. And he moves the light out of the way. It's like, move that. It's not that. And when he does that, and he follows his instincts, he's guided, he finds the cosmic egg of rebirth and regeneration. And he knows that he can continue to grow. And he's going to have to go through some pain and shed some skin. And you need clear thinking to do that. The King of Swords is not a dancer. Not in a way that he wastes his time. If he's a dancer, he's an expert. He's doing yoga and martial arts. He's perfected his skill. He's a perfectionist. He isn't wasting his time. He isn't hiding. He's going to want to understand how to grow. He's a scientist. You know, he can be too logical, but we need that sometimes. If we're totally avoiding the past, it's about growing up, about maturity. It's about maturity, helping yourself, releasing that, you know, coming in, perfecting yourself. So you can have this. You know, the 8 of discs is about perfection, skill. So you can create something out of it. Okay. Now look at the Gypsy card because I feel better. What Spirit like us to know about this reading? To move forward. It's very bright, very clean. It tastes good. It doesn't have a bad taste. stacks fell out. Smiling at what came out. House came out. Square. It was coming out here with the world and the Four of Wands. This is also about house, being in the home, celebrating at home. This is your square. Making a home for yourself. At the bottom, you have sorrow. This is your Nine of Discs, leading into your Ten of Discs, your legacy. Building this, you need your fourth stone to build your house. Yeah, you could have house, circle, TP house, 3 sticks. That's not what we're talking about. Okay? You need your fourth. Your earth, your tree. You need to get grounded, get solid, get real, get serious. You have help. You know. Stop avoiding the issues. Great happiness is awaiting you, the sun. That's what the stones wanted you to know to begin with. But you are the sun. It's just the inner sun. You bring the light to the dark. You have to be the light and the tree, the water, the air. Good luck. I hope to see you again.